Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, it is Brian Kaz here, joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. We have another Wednesday marketing call for you today, and on this one, we thought we'd give you all a chance to basically send some questions in ahead of time and stuff. And of course, we did email you guys out. If by chance you missed that, or you didn't see it, or you forgot to send in a question and you have one, you can feel free to basically ask it in the chat as well, because we'll have some time towards the end in case there's anything else that has basically popped up. There were a lot of questions sent in where a handful of them were very comparable. So I tried to kind of, in some cases, if you don't see your exact question, if you send one in, there's a comparably close one to it right there, just so we don't have to basically repeat a similar answer like 2, 3, or 4 times over. So with that, guys, again, if you have any other questions or anything like that, again, you can feel free to ask that. But on this call, it'll basically be a giant extended Q&A where I'll show basically the questions ahead of time that we had sent in. We'll give some answers. And then if you have any other questions or anything like that later, you can feel free to ask those as well. And just for those of you that are new, these calls are every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is right about now. We'll host a live training and/or Q&A call for our members. And if you're here or you're registered for the series, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area, usually within about a day of any of the calls under the training tab on the left side navigation bar. So you click on training, then you click on the Wednesday calls, and you'll see a list right there with the most recent ones at the very top. And you can search by basically topic and stuff too. So if there's certain stuff that's of interest to you, like a bunch of questions that we got are basically asking stuff that's basically covered a bunch of times. So like if you're interested only in rankings or SEO, you can search and find lots of past calls that we have on just those. If you're interested in only affiliate stuff, you can search that, and we have several past calls on just that as well. So make sure to take advantage of that, because that's why we have all the recordings and stuff there. And as always, if you want a chance to win $100 on today's call, at the end of the call, we give $100 away each week. You just have to be a free member of our Facebook group here. Just go to getwebfire.com/FB group. Again, that's getwebfire.com/FB group. If you're not a free member there, just click join. And Sharon usually approves of you within a couple minutes if it's on a call like right now. And towards the end of the call, we'll give you some instructions on what you have to do to get a chance to win $100 live today, where we'll do the drawing in front of you. Now we can move on to our training for this week, which will be on our extended Q&A. So we asked prior, we sent out an email asking if you had any questions or anything like that. So I wrote a lot of the questions out here. Some might be like a combination of a few, or some might be a combination of a couple of questions you guys had, but we should get them all answered right here. So we'll start one by one in no particular order. And after we do the extended Q&A, you'll have a chance to ask any other questions you want if by chance you thought of anything new. And then we'll go to the cash giveaway right after that. So moving on to our questions. So we got at least a couple people asking, what are the best uses of Webfire, which is basically a way to get easier rankings, leads, and exposure and stuff online. And there's several. There's not like one best use for it, because it really depends on what you want to use it for. But I mean, Webfire on top of the training consists of several tools to help websites rank, several tools to help find leads out there, several tools to help with like content and videos. So there's no like really one best use for it. But I'd say, hands down, you want to definitely use it to basically optimize your sites if you haven't yet. You want to use it for basically keyword research. You want to use it to make sure your sites are optimized and change whatever it is you have to change later. And we'll we'll actually cover how to, or what the basics are of ranking in just a bit, because we've had a couple people ask that as well. So we'll briefly cover that too. But really, I think the best thing that you can do, especially if you're newer, is not only use it for your own stuff, but try to create at least like a service or two using the tools that you can turn around and sell. For instance, using like the schemas. We have a tool that can help make a schema, which is we've covered that a lot, but that basically gives Google and stuff a lot more information on your site or basically your client site, which can increase their ranking. It can have like their phone and basically graphics and lots of cool stuff show up in the search results and stuff like that. So creating a service that is relatively easy for you to do, but has a lot of value for the end client, can be an easy way to make basically some extra dough while also working on your own sites. And I think oftentimes people think only of their own stuff and don't think, well, gee, what can I do to bring value to someone else? Or, how cool would this tool be if I could help, a business like this or that? So you definitely want to think about that. You also want to think about, with the lead tools that we have, how can you find basically prospects out there who are asking questions and stuff in your market where you can reach out to them and get involved. You can basically take a minute or two to answer a handful of questions, and this is especially important if you're selling especially like medium to high price point stuff. It's definitely worth your time to take a minute or two to basically offer value and help to prospects out there that might be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars to you right there, because oftentimes people leave those leads completely alone because no one wants to take the time to help them. But if you take the time to help them, it can pay off a lot in the long run there. And similar to that question, these two are almost kind of the same, but that's why I had these side by side. We had a handful ask, what are some quick and easy ways of making money, whether it be online or with Webfire? And we actually have inside of Webfire, one of the trainings that we have, which you can search for, I think the title is, 5 quick and easy ways to, make $1,000 by next week using Webfire. That's one that I recommend that you watch. I mean, that by itself is probably like an hour plus long call. So obviously can't include all that right here, or we'd be here for basically the rest of the call on just that. But definitely watch that if you're brand new or looking for some easy ways. But I mean, right off the bat, so if you're looking for some quick and easy ways to make money, I'd say try to, again, come up with a service or something that you can sell to other people. One of my favorite ones, which isn't really a ton of work, but has tremendous value, again, is the schemas. So that's where, if you do a search on Google, especially for like a local business, that's where you can have like a picture of the business show up, their mobile number show up right there, reviews show up right there, where they can basically dominate towards the top of Google. That's the kind of service. It takes you, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe like if it's your first time through, it might take you like 20 to 30 if you've never done it. But once you get the hang of it, I mean, easily in 10, you can do most of those right there. But that's the kind of service that to a business that has tremendous value, and you basically charging $500 to $1,000 can come off as cheap to a lot of these guys compared to the value that you can bring them, especially when you're targeting places where 1 or 2 sales might make a quick profit off that, right there. And even outside of the schemas, I mean, even anything with helping another business rank, I mean, you don't have to overthink the stuff you have to do to rank a site. So I mean, most businesses you can help simply by changing the title tags on their, on their pages. It's as easy as that. Because like, for instance, taking like the tennis shop, example, we had a client that owned a tennis shop that prior to, us, he wasn't ranked anywhere. I mean, even for a term that he should be ranked for, because I mean, if he is trying to rank for basically tennis terms in a local area where he has a physical shop, naturally he deserves to be there, right? I mean, so it shouldn't be that hard, because again, Google wants to show the relevant sites. They absolutely want to show the relevant sites. So they wanted to show a site, but he wasn't doing a good job of telling them what a site was. And you'll find that this is true with a lot of sites out there. I'd say probably over 90% of sites there don't do the best of jobs with this. So simply by basically changing around the keywords in his title tags to make it more relevant to the search terms, and change around some of the description tags, and just basically adding a few of the keywords throughout the web pages that he had, got him over 3 dozen rankings, not only on page 1, but number 1, oftentimes number 1, 2, and 3, completely dominating, basically the upper part of Google for all his search terms, right there. Again, not that hard. Now, to someone that has like a little experience or basically tools like Webfire, we make it super easy to basically do that, where that can take, for 36 terms, you could do that in, if you're really fast, maybe like an hour or two. If you're slow, maybe it might take you like a few hours or half day. If you're really slow, basically doing it like, 1 page ahead of time and all that stuff. But using the tools, definitely within a couple hours, you can make all those changes easily. And that's the kind of thing where the value to a guy like that is worth thousands of dollars. He basically went from no one being able to find him online to everyone being able to find him. So if you were looking for basically tennis stuff online and you were in his area, you would find him. And a lot of his clients basically reported that when he asked them at first how they heard about him, they said, well, they did basically the Google search for either tennis shoes or tennis racket or something along those lines in Madison, and they found his store listed right there. So that can have tremendous value to your clients. Now imagine if you do this for basically clients where they're not just looking to buy shoes or like a tennis racket, but if they're looking to get like maybe some work done on their back for like a chiropractor, or maybe they're looking for like some kind of plastic surgery, or they're looking for like a lawyer, or they're looking for like a new roof on their house, or they're looking to build a house, anything like that, where the value is astronomically huge, where if they get even like 1 client a year off of you, they're making a huge profit. So it's a much easier sale to basically do that stuff right there. The other thing that you can do too is, on top of the obvious, which is, helping your own sites rank well, looking for, prospects of buyers that could be interested in buying your stuff, which, I assume that that's, fairly obvious for those that have their own stuff. But even as just an affiliate, one of the quick and easy things is you can make, web pages, or you can make videos with like a video firestorm where you try to target review type terms. Now, what's cool with that is if someone's looking for a review, you know what? They're almost a buyer. So they're not quite a buyer, but if they're looking for a review, you know that they're interested in buying. Like any review that I look at, I'm really saying, okay, I want to buy this, but I just want to look for maybe any last minute reviews, see if there's anything else recommended, or seeing if there's any reason why I shouldn't buy or any reason why I should. And all you have to really do is, if you use the keyword tools to find the right kind of review terms to basically target, or those that don't have a lot of competition, and you target those in the title tags, or in your blog post title, or in the title of your video if you want to rank a video, or do both, you can get a lot of traffic that goes for those kinds of things. And then as long as you write like a legit review and follow it up with a call to action where you have your affiliate link, you can get a lot of sales over time there. And in fact, a question I often get is, well, what if what if I don't have the product that I want to review? Well, if that's the case, just research what other reviews say, and then write a review where you say you're summing up all the reviews out there. And that's a tremendous value, a tremendous help. Like, and I've been saying this for years, but I want to reiterate that, because just like a week ago, I was looking for essentially Christmas gifts on Amazon, and there was a product that I was trying to see what the reviews were of it, and there were a lot of really good ones and a handful of some bad ones, which you'll find in almost anything. I mean, you could have a tree that literally grows money on it, and there will always be some that will complain about it, which is perfectly okay. Some might say, hey, this tree only grows 20s. I want it to grow $100 bills instead. And if you give them a tree that grows $100 bills, they'll say, well, that's too much. I'm looking for 20s too. So you'll always find people that complain about stuff, but when people are looking for reviews, they want the overall picture, basically. And on the reviews I saw on Amazon, there was one guy that said, hey, this is a review that sums up all the reviews that I read because I had a frustrating time reading through everything. So for all you guys, here's a summary of what everyone's saying. Here's all the good stuff, a couple that say it's bad, here's what they don't like. Overall, I'd say it's 4 out of 5 stars, and here's why. So he summed up both sides of the reviews at once, and people loved that. It was the most, I think, I forgot what it's called, but it's the most, I don't know if it's like the most popular comment, but it was like at the very top, the most helpful, and everyone loved that because, again, it sums up everything. It saves a ton of time. So even if you didn't have the product yourself, you could do some research, sum up stuff, and say, hey, here's what people tend to like, here's what they tend not to like overall. I say it's this because of this, this, and that. Then give a clear call to action at the very end where you say, so based upon all this, I recommend this because of this, and you can click here to get that now, or to get the best deal on that right now. You can click here to get the best price that I found. So you want to specifically say click here to get the best price I found, or get here, or click here to get the latest deal, because you want to encourage them to also basically click there, because you don't want them to be basically at the checkout and assume that, okay, this person says it's good, I'm going to go back to where I was and click buy. You want them to click that link and say, well, maybe I should check to see if you found a cheaper price here, or what that is, because that then will give you essentially credit for that sale. The other thing when you write reviews and stuff like that and keep in mind, we have past calls on just that topic. So if you're interested in that, you can obviously look those up and watch more on that. But one of the big things is when you write a review, whether it be a blog post or whether it be a video, you don't want it to be super long, because again, people don't want to read 20 pages, or I shouldn't say everyone, but 99% of people don't want to read a 20-page review on a product. They just want to basically know, okay, what's good, what's bad, and should I get this? So if you just have like, a quick summary at the top, a handful of bullet points with the pros and cons, and a conclusion where you say, hey, here's basically a summary of all the stuff. My conclusion is that you buy or don't buy because of this or that. That can work really well, and it saves a lot of time because you don't have to do a ton of writing, and it can work really, really, really well. And even if you don't have like text on slides, in like a video, you can just like record yourself basically talking to it. It doesn't have to be hard or complicated, and these can add up. Now, it's not like a affiliate review will necessarily make like thousands of dollars the very next day. Is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? It's a bit more tough to do that. But over time, some winners can make a lot of money. Like I've had affiliate accounts where they won't initially make much. I mean, some might make like 30 to 50 bucks a month, and then some months can jump way, way, way up. But over time, it adds up. In fact, I have one that's right now in the tens of thousands of dollars that initially, I think the first month it was live, it made me maybe like 30 or 50 bucks. But it's gone up, and it's been basically making money each and every month since then, for the most part right there. And it's one that hasn't been touched in like 10 years, if not longer. So again, keep that in mind. If you do even one of these a week, it can add up pretty quickly. All right, here's another question that we got, and there's actually there's one question in the first one. There's a couple questions on the second one, but they're all kind of the same, so I put them all here. One is, how can I help a store that doesn't sell online but wants more foot traffic? In the example in this case, it was a men's clothing store that sold kind of like work clothing and kind of urban type stuff, and they don't want to sell online, but they want to increase the foot traffic. And we've had a couple questions that were about how can someone rank locally for stuff. And so they're kind of related right there. But so I thought I would answer both of them at once. Now, even if they don't want to sell online, now I would greatly encourage you to look at how you might want to sell some stuff online, just because that's a big and obvious trend. In fact, let me ask you guys a question, just kind of prove a point here. I know this might be skewed a little bit depending upon the country that you're from. I know in the States it's super, super easy. I know in some other places it might be a bit more tough. I want you guys to type in a 1 if you either have done or think you will do the majority of your Christmas shopping online this year. So type in a 1, or type in a 2 if you think you'll do the majority of it offline. All right, so let's just see what the responses are here, just to kind of show a point. All right. Looks like, all right, we have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. So, all right, so it looks like for every 2, we probably have, 3 1s. And I'd be willing to bet, too, that right there, that of the, 1/4 or so that said 2, I'm willing to bet that some of you are probably from outside of the States, where sometimes it's a bit more hard to shop online. Like I know in certain countries where basically Amazon isn't as prevalent yet. You might have to wait a week or 2 to get a product shipped. Whereas especially in the States, anything you get on Amazon, you can get in like a day or 2, oftentimes for free. And everyone I know, for the most part, including even some of the older crowd that isn't really used to the tech side as much, even a lot of them now are shopping almost exclusively online. And that's a big push. So it's like, if you can sell online, great. If you haven't, that's okay, but definitely look into that. But as far as how you can help a store get foot traffic, it's the exact same thing that we did for basically the tennis shop too. So the tennis shop didn't really sell anything online either. I think they might do some now, but most of it they sell at only at the store. But they were searching for people specifically looking for like a tennis racket, in the Madison area, or basically tennis shoes, which was I think one of their top sellers, because people want to try on a shoe versus buying online. Or to restring a racket, they'd search for that. So what you want to do in this case is think of all the different things that your friend sells or that the owner sells, and all the different kinds of search terms that someone might search for. So like you say work clothing. I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean. I don't know if you mean if it's just like suits and nice stuff, or if you mean work clothes for a construction worker. But either way, the point would be the exact same. If let's say you sell heavy duty clothes for a construction worker, try to rank for terms like that, clothes for construction worker or construction worker clothes, and then follow it with basically your local area. So if let's say you want to rank for, and I don't know if this is a good search term offhand, it's just basically off the top of my head. So let's say that you want to rank for construction worker clothes or construction clothes, Madison, Wisconsin, or Atlanta, Georgia, or some term like that, or Sydney, Australia. You would search, or you would make sure to have that term in the title itself or in the title tag. So you might say, construction worker clothes, Sydney, Australia. And then if you want to have basically your company name or anything like that, you can right there. And keep in mind, if you had another product, let's say you had work clothes for let's say business attire, you could have a separate term that says, or a separate page that says business attire, clothing, Atlanta, Georgia, dash, and then have basically your business name or anything like that. And on that page, specifically just have all of your business wear and all that stuff. And then go through all the different kinds of products that people might find and individually try to rank for those. And ask the actual owner too, what are your 3 top sellers? Like in the case of the tennis shop, he quickly said, hands down, the tennis shoes are huge. He's like, probably the second one would probably be a racket. And the third one, he said, probably be the restraining of a racket. So if you break the strings on a racket, if you play a lot, you tend to break those more. and they tend to die over time, so people get those restrung. Those were his 3 biggest sellers, and that's what people would search for. So we basically prioritize having pages specifically for those. Now, he might have 100 products that, we don't want to necessarily take the time to individually try to rank for each one. Now, you certainly could. That would take a lot more time, and they'd have to pay you more to basically do so. But if you were to target like his top 3, you'd have a probably very easy chance of ranking, especially on a local scale, where again you're using the local areas in the title tags and in the descriptions and on the page itself, which is almost guaranteed to rank you well right there. And when people find you, they're more likely then to go to your store, especially if you have like like easy directions on there. If you have a number that's super easy. You want to also use a schema in this case, where you could have their site show up where they have like 1 click to a call, they have the business hours, they have the map, all that stuff listed right there. Super easy stuff. And you can help a lot of these guys in literally like an hour's time. You can give them tremendous value where it might be worth, where if you were to charge thousands of dollars, that might be a steal of a deal. If you charge $1,000, that'd be like a crazy cheap deal, but would still be incredibly worth your time right there, because it wouldn't take a ton of time there. All right, another question that we got from a couple people were than to send to other businesses. And again, there's no one best then, but I really think anything with SEO or schemas is good. Another big thing now too is outside of web fire with our automated ads software, you could help manage Facebook accounts, or Facebook ad accounts, I should say. That's a pretty big one, where there's people that are playing around with ads, but usually, if you're a local business owner or even like a non-local one, they don't. I mean, they're not like us. They're not like, you guys are ahead of the curve because you understand more of the online stuff. You're paying attention to it more. Most of these guys want to focus only on their business, and they know that you can advertise on Facebook, but they don't know like all the basically the nitty-gritty stuff. And that's why, like, I had a guy years ago, a guy that did my landscaping once. He also had like some tree farms and stuff. He was saying I forgot the exact amount that he wasted, but I know it was in like the tens of thousands of dollars. I forgot offhand exactly how much it was, but he had an AdWords ad that was trying to target basically anyone that searched or liked basically trees. So he was paying for ads for anyone that liked trees, or anyone that were to basically type tree onto Google. So if someone were to type in like trying to find, like, let's say a picture of a certain tree, his ad would show up. And even more so, he was advertising nationwide instead of just in his local area. So what are the chances that a person on the West Coast, which is a 4-hour flight away, will say, oh my God, there's a landscaper in Madison, just what I want, because by random chance, I'm going to move to Madison, and by random chance, I'm looking for some landscaping. I mean, the chances of that are like 1 in probably a million, if not probably more like 1 in like 100 million. And he burned through tens of thousands of dollars because he didn't know what he was doing. So people like you guys know way more and can help. And when you had software to help you with even more of that, that can bring tremendous value to a lot of those guys right there. But I'd say that's one. Anything with SEO, like what we basically talked about, is huge. Anything with like helping them identify leads is huge. And then after you get kind of your foot in the door, you can sell additional things. Like you can help with some general consultations, and you don't have to be a genius here. Like there's a lot of businesses out there. Like I had a friend who he's technically retiring now, but he's had a business, I want to say, for maybe 30 plus years, if not like 40, probably 30 plus for sure, but a long time, where it wasn't until the very end when he talked to me where I said, hey, do you have any, because he's basically asking me like, what are some easy ways to increase the sales? He never thought of looking into upsells. He never thought basically adding stuff that people were asking him about. And once he basically added those, he's like, wow, I increased my sales by a lot by simply doing exactly what you just said right there. Now, to you and I, you might think, well, duh, of course, if you had an upsell, you'll probably make more. But to a lot of these businesses, they'll view that as, wow, this guy's a genius because he said add an upsell here, and look, I did just that. I didn't think it'd sell, but I'm making a third more now. Awesome. So that you can kind of work your way in there. So yeah, any of those are perfectly fine. But I mean, anything like SEO, leads, making videos, ad management, social media management's another big and easy one, which you can do with Webfire as well, like using a social poster. There's guys that are paid hundreds, even thousands of dollars a month to manage like Facebook and Twitter accounts and such. And you can easily do a lot of that, much more autopilot through there. And all those are ones that basically businesses know that they should do, but they don't necessarily want to take the time to do it. Or they'd rather pay you to basically do it because they value their time more right there. All right, we've had a couple questions here on what kind of future updates do you have planned? Well, we have a lot of updates for a lot of our different softwares and stuff like that. On the Webfire side, we have a few updates that should be out at some point this month, hopefully. There's a bunch of smaller ones, but we have a decent one being done on the social poster where we'll have a couple updates there where we're basically adding another source. We're also looking into LinkedIn to roll out some updates with that. Yeah, so that's that one. And then we're also doing one where it's like a simple tool that will help you analyze like a larger site super fast. So instead of analyzing one page at a time, it can basically analyze like a bunch of pages and fix a bunch of things all at once too. So once that's basically done, we'll basically do a call to focus on that. But it'd be like super easy to basically analyze an entire business at once in front of a client almost, and easily be able to fix their issues right there. So that's a pretty neat one right there. And there's a handful of other ones that once we roll those out, we'll have like a future call where we'll specifically show off the stuff that we'll have right there. All right. Oh, and outside of Webfire, on some of the other software, because there's like a couple of guys that ask outside on the automated ads software, we do have an update that we have basically kind of like an alpha version done now, but we're working on the user interface before releasing it. On the automated ads software, we have an update there that will allow you to take like a store and instantly have it create a bunch of ads based upon the products in your store for you. So it will not only create those ads, it will help you manage all those at the same time too. So if you have a store that has like a dozen products or 100 products, it can create like an individual ad for each one, and it will make it look. And I was actually really impressed. The first time through, I thought, it probably won't do the best of jobs initially. We'll have to fine tune it a lot more, but it's actually done a pretty good job based upon the artificial intelligence that we have, where it will create like a pretty decent ad. And of course, you can change anything you want on the ad quickly and easily with that. So we're pretty excited about that one. We'll have, we're hoping for that relatively soon right there, because we're pretty close to wrapping up that. So probably, hopefully this month at some point, if not probably the very start of next month, but hopefully this month still, I think. And yeah, that's that. And we have a couple other oddball projects and stuff here and there that we're basically working on that we'll talk more about once those get closer. Another question that we got are there any major changes taking place online that we should be aware of, and what can we do about them? And this is basically geared towards like major changes on Google or YouTube and stuff like that. And there's always like changes that take place, especially in terms of like what's easiest to rank and stuff like that. But the practices that we basically teach you about and the tools that we have are meant to be basically evergreen, but we do pay attention to changes and make basically adjustments based upon that. So we don't teach any kind of black hat methods, where a black hat method's like a method where it's like a trick to get ranked, but usually it won't last long. We only teach basically the white hat stuff, where if you target the stuff in your title tags better, if you do the keyword research, if you target it on your site and in the title tags, you'll probably always have a good chance of ranking, if you do the work well. But one big change that started to take place years ago, and it seems to be much more of a trend now, not just on the SEO side, but even on paid ads, is the user experience of a searcher or someone you're advertising to on the paid side. And Google and Facebook and all those guys want to make sure that the people that are viewing your ad or viewing your site get what they're searching for. So like if you search for, let's say, how to make a burger, and you happen across a site that is ranked for how to make lasagna, or you advertise for the best lasagna recipes, the user experience is really bad in that case because they want burgers. In fact, I got annoyed at Alexa a couple days ago. The Amazon AI homebot thing, because my daughter asked Alexa, goes, Alexa, what's a good recipe for a burger? And Alexa showed us a bunch of recipes for lasagna. And even when I said basically repeat, it kept showing recipes of lasagna instead. That's a bad user experience. But on Google and Facebook years ago, you'd get a lot of that, where you'd have a bunch of ads that weren't completely relevant to what you were searching for, or you'd have some sites that would try to game the system and would be ranked but wouldn't really have what you were looking for. Like if you were looking for weight loss tips for men, or how to gain muscle or anything like that, you'd want to make sure that the search site that you had was completely relevant to that and not just a generic one. And I've noticed in the past several years, Google and Facebook and such have focused a lot more time and effort on trying to make a good user experience. And that's why, like on the Google side, how long someone stays on your site versus clicks back has become more and more of an issue, especially with not an issue, but more and more important, especially on the more competitive search terms, because they know if someone does a search and they click on your site and stay on it, they most likely like it and they think that it deserves to be ranked there. Versus if they click on your site and immediately click back, they know that, hey, for whatever reason, they didn't like your site, so they probably shouldn't annoy the rest of the searchers by having your site ranked so high there. So that's basically become quite important right there, especially in maintaining rankings. And on the flip side, if you get guys to click through to go to your site, like if you have a very good title tag and then stay on your site, they're more likely to move you up in the rankings. So just keep that in mind, and really at the end of the day, make sure that what you're trying to rank for or what you're advertising truly is what the people want that are searching for that term, or that you're trying to basically target. If you give them what they want, you'll be perfectly fine. On the Facebook side, in terms of paid ads and stuff, it's the same thing. Like Facebook has been looking at user feedback. So if you advertise a product that people think is too good to be true, or you advertise a product that pisses them off, like let's say you say, hey, get a free whatever, and then you send them through a half-hour application process, and in the very end they don't get the free thing anyway, so you basically trick them. People will get pissed. They'll complain about your ad there. They'll get upset. They'll leave bad comments, and pretty soon you'll have your ad account banned and shut down because of that. Even if you have a legit offer, it can still happen right there. We actually had a workshop once where there was a guy who sold custom bird homes, and I think bird feeders and stuff too. And they looked like really elaborate and nice ones, not cheap ones that you'd get for basically $20. I mean, these were ones where I think his cheapest one was hundreds of dollars. The more expensive ones were thousands of dollars. And he had his ad account banned. And I thought, well, that's really odd. It's not like he was selling anything weird. But when you stop to think about it, it's like, oh wait, he's selling high-priced bird homes. So someone that sees a bird home for hundreds, even thousands of dollars, the initial reaction of a lot of people is, oh, this sucks. He's attempting to charge $1,000 for a birdhouse. Screw this. I hate this ad. And people complain about that stuff. So you have to be like extra careful, especially on like Facebook ads. What you're advertising and what the user experience would be with that. And you want to try to give them an actual offer that they'd actually like. Now you'll never please everyone, but you want to make sure that you please the majority of people there, and that the user experience as a whole is quite good. So that's more and more important, especially on the ad side, even on the ranking side. You want to make sure that you answer the questions that you're ranking for, you address the search terms that you're basically ranking for. So if someone clicks on your site, they'll want to stay on your site. If you don't have the content that they're looking for, they'll basically click back, and you don't deserve to keep that ranking. So that's what you want to be aware of. It's the same thing on the YouTube side too. And that's when we're more and more, they're basically looking at what's the user experience. Are people watching your videos? Are they staying on them, or are they immediately clicking back to go to the next one? If you have a quality one that people like watch, the majority of or stay on for more than like a second or two, that's more likely to tell YouTube and stuff that you deserve to be ranked there, or be ranked even more. And in that case too, what's nice on the YouTube side is if people watch your videos, they're more likely to see your future videos show up the next time they go to YouTube and stuff as well. So there's a massive benefit there too. But the basically takeaway from that is that online is becoming a lot more social, where they're looking at what's the user experience and are people happy with what they see. Whereas like years and years ago, they didn't care if someone hated an ad. Whereas now they care a lot more about that. So just keep that in mind, and always think, hey, what can you do to keep the user experience really good? And are you truly answering basically the questions that someone is searching for an answer for, or is your product offer truly basically targeted well to basically people that would find value in that right there? And of course, I mean, that's why we also, even on like the Webfire side, that's why we have basically tools to help with that stuff. That's why we have like the social media tools, and that's why we have like essentially tools to find leads out there that you can spend a little time to proactively reach out to them, offer lots of value. So we have kind of the best of both worlds right there. We've had a couple people asking questions similar to this right here, which is one is what are a few ways to convert more buyers? So generically speaking, it doesn't really matter if you have a service or if you're selling like an e-commerce product or a digital product or whatever it might be, but there's a handful of ways that you can get more sales. So one way is if you're selling a product, like let's say a physical product, okay? So let's say you sell beauty products, okay? So you sell like hand lotion and face lotion and anti-wrinkle stuff and all sorts of beauty products like that. A lot of people oftentimes tend to go for like the big sale first, where they'll try to sell like and by basically big sale, I mean relevant to their market. So for like a beauty product, a $30 price point would be like a big sale there. Not to say that a $30 sale in other markets is big, but it's unlikely that like person looking for
Brian,
makeup.
you obviously haven't bought beauty products lately, but that's okay.
That's really true. But I have a daughter who has, so I'm aware of how like makeup that I think should cost like $5 or $10 is like $60 as like a starter price on up there. But yeah, but like let's say like whereas like in some other markets that might be a cheap price. But let's take like some kind of like a facial cream, and I don't know the prices of that stuff. But let's say a normal cream is $30, and I don't know if I'm a bit high or a bit low. Doesn't matter. So an easier way to make a sale is if you're advertising to these people. They have to have a lot of trust in you, and they have to trust that basically your product's better, or at least a decent deal. And there's two major things that you can do. One, for the product itself, you want to have some good social proof. So that's why you see like, you know, before and after pictures or testimonials or stuff like that, or like proof of what the ingredients are. So like, you know, if you're like an all natural product, you can list off, you know, the natural or like, you know, the natural stuff that you have, and then list off the bad stuff that the competitors have and list off why they're bad. Like people don't necessarily know what a certain chemical is, but you can say, hey, there's this chemical in that which has been linked in some, by some research to, you know, this and that, which is really bad stuff. So it kind of scares off people, and they'll think, well, gee, even though I can get the, you know, cheaper stuff for 15 bucks less, it has all these chemicals I don't necessarily want to put on my face that are kind of scary. So man, this seems like a better deal. So that's one way right there. Or like an anti-wrinkle, if you had like a before and after, you know, that can help. But even a bigger one is if you have like an unbeatable offer or like a trial offer. So let's say you have like a mini thin of hand cream where you say, hey, we're so confident that you'll love this cream that we'll actually give you a free sample. Just pay the shipping and handling. And let's say let's say you it's just like a smaller thing that you give away for free, then maybe charge like, you know, $6 or $7 or $8. You know, you'll have to test what seems to be like basically magic price for you, but you charge that for the shipping and handling. A lot of times your raw cost you might get back in the shipping and handling itself. So you're not necessarily making a lot. In some cases you might be, if it's like a really cheap product, but you're basically getting a paid lead for free that is interested in your product, that might be likely to buy more stuff. And then once they buy that, you know, you can then show some upsells to say, hey, you know, why not save X amount off right now on a month's supply, or 2 months, or three months. And if you don't like it, you know, after X amount of time, just send the first, you know, bottle back and we'll give you a refund. Like any kind of deal like that can work real well. Or show like other products. So if they buy maybe like, you know, the face cream, they might like the anti-wrinkle cream. They might also like, you know, the other kinds of beauty products and stuff that people basically buy with that right there. And that initial sale that might be like free plus $6 or $7 to a ship might turn into like a $30 sale on average overall, or some higher amount, where you can then basically give away your free product knowing that you make a lot more. That's how you can really grow a business, especially on the paid advertising side, is by having like a decent upsell and having like a really good initial offer to kind of get your foot in the door. On basically the digital side, or like the service side, you can have an offer that I call is like an unbeatable offer, where you give them like a guarantee, where like, you know, hey, if you don't increase, or, you know, if you don't decrease their Facebook ad costs, or if you don't, you know, increase the sales or the traffic or the rankings that they get, or whatever it might be, you know, you'll basically give them 100% of their money back, or some kind of offer like that. That's an unbeatable guarantee that can kind of get your foot not only in the door, but get them more likely to jump on it because it's risk-free for them right there. You can also, too, what works really well, especially on the service side, especially through social media and stuff like that, is instead of advertising a product outright or advertising a service outright, you can basically post and talk about a case study as like an example. Like, hey, you know, here's how, you know, here's how a store owner went from 0 rankings to over 36 #1 rankings in less than an hour's time. And you basically talk about what work was done, what happened, what the results were, and then everyone who basically clicks that, their guards down, because it's like, hey, this isn't really a sales page, it's basically a case study talking about how they got ranked and all that right there. But the end result is oftentimes the same. So like, hey, it looked like this guy right here helped them. He's listing out the steps that he did. Here's the rankings that he got. I like that. It makes sense. I don't want to do the work myself, so I'm going to reach out to him or her to try to do that work for me. Or, you know, it could be, you know, here's how a business doubled their sales with a 10-minute tweak. and you basically give like an actual example of like a case study or anything like that, where you basically walk through, what was done, what basically tips were given, what they did, what they implemented, and then at the very end have like a very light call to action where they can reach out to you at like an email address or fill out a form to get more information about how you can help them. So those kinds of examples can work really well and get a lot more sales and such there too. You can also too think of like, what can you do for free where you can make money on the back end. So in the diamond market, which is one of the first markets that I was in as an affiliate, I didn't sell any diamonds myself. I was just an affiliate, so I made money as an affiliate, so I didn't actually have to have diamonds myself. One of the things that I did is I had a site that basically gave lots of tips of what to look for when buying a diamond. And a free service that I offered was I would basically help a person choose the best diamond for them from other sites. So not like, it wasn't one that would be like a diamond from me, so their guards down. I'd say, hey, I'll show you the top diamond sites out there, and if you let me know what you're looking for, I'll give you several links to what I think some of the best deals are, basically in your price range based on what you're basically looking at. So they would answer like 3 questions, like what kind of style of diamond or what look that they're basically looking for, what their budget is, if they care more about size or quality, and based upon that, I would take maybe a couple minutes, find some of the best deals out there, and I'd link to them with my affiliate link, knowing that if I made a sale, I'd make, hundreds to, in some cases, even over $1,000 per sale, just for taking like a couple minutes to basically answer them. And it was a free service where they didn't have to pay me for this, for the service, but I could make money as an affiliate on the back end. Or like, let's say you currently sell a guide on how to do some kind of like investing or trading. Rather than selling a guide on that, why not offer to do a service where you'll walk them through the first trade for free, but the only thing is, they have to sign up at basically the broker or essentially the places that you walk them through on. So you can get paid as an affiliate, where you might get paid hundreds of dollars in your affiliate cut to get them to sign up through like a certain broker or certain account, where the book you'd have a tough time selling for $7. But if you do the service for free, you can make hundreds of dollars off on the back end of it. So try to think like, what kind of services or basically offerings can I do to kind of get my foot in the door, where it has tremendous value to the people, but at the same time, I know that the lead will probably be worth a lot more to me. So that's a few ways right there. And similar to that, there was a question on what are some good ways to attract the right kind of clients. Well, similar to what I just said, you can definitely offer like case study and stuff like that to get guys that read through that and basically are kind of pre-sold on the fact that you know what you're doing and that they need you. So that's a good example of that. But you can also, using like the like the lead tools inside of Webfire, you can make sure that you find guys that are asking questions relevant to you, where your product or your service would be a massive help. And you can spend like a minute or two to basically answer them, knowing that, hey, this is a perfect client. He's basically asking a question that I know I can help with. I'm going to take a minute or two to basically answer him, and hopefully he'll either check out my site or my video, or he'll email me, or whatever kind of call to action you want right there. The other thing that you can do as well to track the right kind of clients is don't always focus on the super cheap stuff. There's a lot of guys that want to sell like the cheapest thing out there, which is great in some cases, but if you're selling like a service where you want to make like, let's say, $1,000 a month, you don't want to necessarily target like a $7 a month buyer. So you want to basically see what can you do to your service or your product to increase the value of it and increase the price of it. So like, let's say, for instance, you're like, let's say, an article writer. Instead of selling a $5 article where you're basically making $1 or $2 profit if you outsource that, and you have a tough time to make that sale because there's a lot of writers, why not make custom blogs where you write the actual content, put it on that blog, have a guy off Fiverr make you like an easy blog, because again, on blogger.com, you can make a basic blog in a couple minutes. A guy in Fiverr can make you some basic graphics very, very quickly. And you kind of do the SEO work, you do the keyword research, and you have the articles, and you throw together a custom-made site that could sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars. That attracts a better quality client that's more likely to want to buy more and more and more from you as well. The other thing too is you want to target essentially clients, especially on the business side, that are more likely to be able to get a larger ROI off what you do. So like if you basically target like a mom and pop shop that makes like a couple $1,000s a month, it's very hard to get them to pay you $1,000 a month to do work. Whereas if you target like, lawyers or chiropractors or dentists or plastic surgeons or roofers or builders, or ones where a single client can oftentimes be worth thousands of dollars, in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars, like essentially builders, it's much more easy to kind of get the kind of client that thinks, oh, a service for $3 to $5 grand is an easy deal, because a single client is worth way, 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 way more than that right there. So try to think of like, who exactly do you want to actually target? Do you want to appeal to the cheapest kind of client out there, or do you want to appeal to the larger ones? And what you'll find is the larger clients you appeal to, the more it's worth your time to kind of take some time to maybe offer them like something to get your foot in the door, or do something extra to get their attention, and stuff like that. Another question we have is, how can I compete with larger brands out there or in very competitive markets? So there's oftentimes a myth that you don't want to be in a competitive market, that you want to be the only guy in your market. And the vast majority of the times, that's not the case. If you're in a market where there's no competitors, 99% of the time, you're probably in a market where there's no buyers. Now, you might get incredibly lucky and find a market with no competitors with lots of buyers, but that's much more rare. More than likely, if you're in a very competitive market, it means that it's competitive because there's a lot of buyers. And a lot of buyers is a good thing. Like, let me ask you guys a question. If you're looking to lose weight, do you ever only buy a single weight loss product? Do you ever only buy a single, weight loss pill or supplement or exercise machine or book? No, you probably buy lots of different books, lots of different pills, lots of different exercise machines, and you probably do that for years and years and years and years. That's why there's so many kinds of products out there, because the market is so big. So you want to be in the more competitive markets, but what you want to do to kind of stand out is kind of the stuff I was talking about. Have the case studies, have the stuff like that you advertise that instead of just straight to your sale. Take the time to find leads or ask them questions where you actually answer them. You provide them help where they feel like they can actually trust you. Or on the e-commerce side, have the free plus shipping offers where again, a person can kind of dip their feet with you at a fraction of the price, have the lowest barrier to entry right there to kind of, again, get your foot in the door with them. So all those ways can make you or can basically help you compete with the larger brands. And on top of that too, sometimes it's really great because the larger brands do what? They oftentimes spend a ton of money on advertising. So that means a lot of people are asking questions on products. So let's say you sell a makeup, okay? And the makeup is an all-natural product, and you know that there's a makeup product that's being sold that gets advertised all the time. There's lots of people asking questions on it. You can see that people are asking questions like, hey, what are the ingredients in here? You can then answer those guys and say, hey, there's a lot of kind of really bad stuff like this, and that. You might want to check out some natural solutions like this, or this, or I have like a video or a blog post on some stuff right here where you can basically piggyback off of basically other people paying for lots of ads. So you can basically piggyback on the brand awareness that those guys have. So that can actually be a very good thing for you right there. Or on the review side, if you're making money as an affiliate, that's good. So the very big brands means there's lots of people buying, lots of people doing searches, so they're more likely to look for reviews and stuff that you can rank for there. One of the last ones we had, I think there might be one more after this, but there's one that said, what's an example of a good funnel, or how to make one or have new offers? Well, the mistake that a lot of people have is they have a single product offer and that's it. They don't sell anything else. They don't do any follow-up, or the follow-up that they do is to get that initial sale. And that's the biggest mistake you could possibly make. And that's why a lot of people can't compete with others. So if you're selling, like, let's say a makeup, you know, like a single product, you want to make sure that as an upsell, maybe offer like a bulk buy or like a 2 or 3 month supply. And then maybe you say, hey, here's like, you know, a special deal on some nail polish we have, or a special deal on some face cream, or whatever it might be. And you want to say, you know, in an ideal case, you know, usually you want to have, you know, 2 to 3 upsells. You know, if you don't have one, at least you're leaving a ton of dough on the table, a ton of dough. So I mean, at least have one. But you know, if you're in the 2 to 3 range, that's pretty good right there. But then on top of that, you want to make sure that after you make those sales and stuff, that list that you have, that you're hopefully making off that, and if not, make sure you make one. That list that you have, you want to make sure that, like, at least each week, if not like every day, you're sending follow-up emails, trying to sell them into other stuff, other deals that you have, whether they're your own deals or stuff that you're just an affiliate for. Because there's a lot of money in those lists that a lot of people, again, completely ignore. So, like, you know, an example of funnel might be, you might have a free plus shipping offer initially, where let's say it's free plus, like, you know, let's say $8 to ship. And then after that, you might have like a deal where, hey, for 30 some bucks, they get like, you know, a month supply. And then, you know, after that, you might have a deal for like a related product for like maybe, you know, 50 bucks or so. They get like a super deal. You can also have like a membership deal too, where, you know, you could have like, you know, like, let's say like a $1 trial or a free trial into some kind of membership. Like, hey, do you want to test out a membership that we have where, you know, you get special deals each month, you know, you get this stuff shipped to you, or this stuff sent to you, or you get access to the software or whatever it might be, and say, we'll even give you the first month free as basically a test. So that can get guys to basically sign up right there, where you get them into some reoccurring. And then you also want to make sure that eventually, not necessarily on day one, but eventually you want to have some higher end price points and stuff to in there. Not that you'll necessarily make, you know, a lot of individual sales, but if you have like let's say your average price point is $100 and you have $1,000 price point or a $3,000 price point thrown in there, if you get even like 1 or 2 of those sales every now and then, that can add a lot to your bottom line and make it far more worth your time, or far more worth basically the money that you might spend on ads and stuff. So try to think through that and definitely have a decent funnel right there. We also get like a couple guys asking, should I focus on free or paid traffic? And the easiest answer is focus on both. You know, paid traffic is a great way where if you have, like, let's say a funnel that works, like let's say you have, you know, a product that, you know, people like, you know, it's working. The paid traffic can be one of the easiest ways to scale that fast, where, you know, you basically know, hey, it cost me $10 to get a buyer, and I know I can get basically twice that off that. You can scale it up relatively quickly and easily and grow that very, 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 very big, much faster than usually on the free side. But the free side obviously has the advantage of being free, where especially if you use like a lot of the tools that we have defined, like leads and prospects and stuff out there, you can pinpoint who the actual buyers are, take some time to basically respond to those guys right there, and try to drive basically traffic and leads back your way. So there is no like right or wrong answer there. You can easily do both, but paid is a pretty good way to basically grow very, very fast off that without sacrificing necessarily a lot more time. And I think the last one we have here is what are the basics of ranking? So we actually have lots of prior training specifically on ranking, but where we have like lots of advanced tips, but really the basic part is make sure that the keyword that you rank for, you have a decent chance of ranking. So use the keyword tool inside of Webfire to see, hey, you know, is there a lot of competition for this term? Is it in green? Is it in red? If there's not a lot of competition, like if you search page 1 of Google and eliminate, you know, all the ads, because you don't want to count ads. If there's less than 3 sites that have the exact keyword phrase in their title, you have a very good chance of being ranked on page 1. If 0 of them have that exact phrase in their title, you're almost guaranteed to be ranked on page 1. Then after you find that, you want to make sure that you have the keyword phrase somewhere in your title tag, and in a lot of cases in your description as well, and used somewhere on that web page at least once as well. And if you do those, you're almost guaranteed to be ranked on page 1, as long as you make sure that the content you have is relevant. So what you're trying to rank for, if someone clicks on your site, they'd be happy and they'd be likely to stay on it. That's a win-win, where you're likely to not only quickly and easily get ranked, but stay ranked as well and work your way up very, very quickly and easily. So if you follow just those basics right there, you're almost guaranteed to rank. And it works really well, even on, like, I don't care if it's a global business or a local one. In some cases, local is like super, super easy, because again, there's not nearly as much competition on a local scale, but it works in both cases right there. But if you're interested in that topic, make sure to search for like SEO or ranking in the prior training, and we have entire calls that go through a lot more on just that as well. So with that, we're about at the end of the call, unless there's any other last minute questions that have popped up, and I'll let Sean, if there's any questions that you see, you can ask those. But with that, guys, if you want the chance to win $100 cash, make sure to go to our Facebook group right here at getwebfire.com/FB group. Sharon has a post at the very top. You'll see it will basically be dated probably about an hour ago. And she's basically asking what you thought of today's call. If you leave a comment within that post, try not to have it be posted outside, because it's far, far easier to count this within that post. We'll pick a random winner in a few minutes time right here to give $100 cash through PayPal, or $100 in PayPal. In just a few minutes right here. So make sure you go there. It's free to join that group. If you're not a member yet, just click join. It's free. You'll get approved and leave a comment right there, and we'll pick a winner in a few minutes. And also, guys, if there's any topics or anything else that you'd like us to basically cover on a future call, let us know, because we definitely like to kind of gear the training towards what you guys want. And with that, Sean, as guys leave their comments, have there been any other questions and stuff that you've seen pop up that have not been answered yet?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions that have come up, and a lot of them I was able to answer, but some we need to talk about. One of them, I'm not sure if you say this, Piete, based upon how it's spelled. I apologize, because I probably butchered that completely, but the question is, I have a potential customer that wants his site at the top, and of course, not to be funny, all of your customers want their site at the top, probably for multiple keywords. The question continues, if I can do that, I will have all of this business and more. How do I start?
So they want to rank, and they want to know how to start? Right,
getting their client ranked at the top.
Well, it's kind of the same stuff that we basically talked about. That was basically covered a couple times on this call, but I mean, the easiest way, first, watch some of the prior trainings we have just on rankings, but all you have to really do, if you're trying to rank, do the keyword research first, using the keyword tools that we have. Pick a handful of keywords that you want to go for, and then make sure to use those keyword phrases that are easier to rank for in the title tags and on the content of those sites. If you do just those few things, you're almost guaranteed to rank on page 1 very, very easily. And if you go through some of the prior trainings we have on just SEO, we actually map out all the steps that you have to do right there, including the easiest ones, followed by like the little more advanced ones. But even if you just do the basics, you're almost guaranteed to rank for most of those terms there.
Okay, good. Then somebody was specifically asking about, how to get started promoting as an affiliate, promoting and selling ClickBank products. And we have pretty much all the topics that Brian covered today. We have training on inside of Webfire, and part of the problem some of you express from time to time is, I know it's in there because there's hours and hours and hours of very specific trainings and tutorials and everything else that we give you, but you sometimes can't find stuff. But if you can't, then just email our support team. Like in this case, you would just email them and say, hey, I'm trying to find this stuff on how to sell ClickBank or affiliate products. Can you point me to the right videos? and they know what's on all the videos because they have a big list and are experienced with answering this question. So you can just ask them, and they'll send you to the right video on how to do that, because the answer takes a while to give. But the short version of the answer is that you would do what we tell you always to do. You go in, pick your topic, do keyword research, get a domain, set up a blog, start posting on the blog to get results. Speaking of which, Brian, somebody asked a question. This is like a trick question. What's the best way to make money with their blog? Is it posting ads on their site, or is it capturing leads to create an email list? So what would you say to that? It depends. You're like a lawyer. Don't give them lawyer answers. That's my job. I spent a lot of money to go to law school so that I could give lawyer answers.
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends on your price point and whatnot. I mean, usually if you're trying to sell like really expensive stuff, I'd say try to optimize and try to like get like leads first. If you're selling like super cheap stuff, then in some cases, you can go straight to like a sales page and stuff too. I mean, Sean, what are your thoughts then, if you have anything different?
Well, I absolutely agree. You always, you can have a very specific focus where the only thing someone can do on a page is X, but what you want to do is experiment. If you can post ads on your page that are either affiliate ads or Google ads, and you get paid for that, and you can get leads as well, that's good. The right answer, first of all, always is test. And the second part of the answer when you're going to test is, what makes you the most money in the end? If you run ads, do you get less leads? Probably, because you distract people. But do you get paid every time someone clicks on an ad? Yes, so that's a good thing. So which way makes you more money, right? But the first thing you do is get the blog going, get it ranked, follow what we tell you, and then you can experiment as the traffic comes in. Don't hold yourself back from getting started, because you can always update the blog and what you're doing there. Let's see, Harmish says, Brian, Sean, and Sharon, thank you for your help. Very comprehensive. You're welcome. Okay, that got answered. And guys, finish your posts on Facebook so Brian can give away money, in the spirit of giving away money. Rudiger, just email support@webfire.com and they'll forward that. Okay, so Julian asked, last week you mentioned obtaining the FTP info from the client regarding hosting and access to their website. Does the client readily have this info? That depends upon the client, if they have their hosting info. But if they don't know their hosting info, they're the only one that can get access to it, right? Because somebody's billing them monthly or annually for hosting. So, that's what you got to do, is just tell them, go on, if you don't know, get on email, get on chat with the support from the hosting team, or call them up and get your access info. Now, if they're like, hey, I'm not even sure who that is, and my Amex has 100 charges a month, which like mine does, then what you want to do then is just go look at their who is info and figure out who their hosting company is, because you'll find that in the who is info when you start to look at where it's hosted, and then you can be telling them who to look for, right? Because you could direct them right to the hosting company website that they could contact them. Okay, since if they contact them with their domain name and the hosting company, they can dig up the rest. And that's everything, Brian. So let's go to Facebook and give away money, because we've run long today.
Yep, let's give some cash away, guys. So wrap that up. Give me 5 seconds to do that, and I'll.
And I was just going to say the winner is going to be number 5. That's my prediction. Right up the bat. Don't even know how many posts there are. I'm just telling you number 5.
All right. So you leave a comment right here. Just
I didn't even look at who the name is on number 5. So who's number 5? Philip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Phillip, yeah, Philip.
We'll see. We'll see.
Maybe it's just like taking it to the bank.
So yeah. So what I'll do, I'll count the ones outside of here first, just to make it little easy. So some posted accidentally outside. I'll count those now. So there's 3 outside here plus 4. So 4 posted outside plus 35 in. So we're at 39. All right. So do random right here so you guys see it's all random. 28, you're way off, Sean.
No. I'm correct. You're way off.
All right. So 28, we'll count backwards. 35 was within here. So 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28 is what I said, right?
You said 28. I said 5. But it's good to know I can confuse you still at your young age.
So Bill Robertson, if this is you or it looks like you, congratulations. You are $100 richer, or you will be as soon as you say what your PayPal email is to Sharon in the chat box there. So just write.
Hey, and it's a guy that studied at UW, Brian.
Oh yeah, he did. Parkside, so slightly different school, but yeah. So I actually went to UW-Madison. So yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, so Bill Robertson, as a reward for being a Wisconsin alumni, I guess, you are $100 richer, and also by the random drawing.
I mean, he just posted, yes, the party school.
Yep.
Because Brian's a big partier. You got to see Brian go. Sometimes he has like a Coke.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a drinker. Unlike a lot of people I went to school with. But yeah, so again, congratulations to Bill Robertson. Just post up your PayPal email and Sharon will get that off to you in a few moments here. So again, congrats to Bill and to everyone else. Thanks for being on this call. And again, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, we'll have another one. If there's any other questions you guys have, you can always write support@webfire.com or use the help desk, which is the link at the top inside of the members area. Or if there's any basically topics that you'd like us to basically cover on a future call, let us know. So with that, guys, hope you guys have a great rest of the week and look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So take care, guys, and talk to you later.